everyone, and welcome to Black Ops 2. Today, we are taking on the very first mission in the Black Ops 2 campaign, one where we storm the deserts of Angola and save Sergeant Frank Woods from the back of a boat. And of course, with the help of a little bit of no-clip, we'll be able to take a look at these animations and these scenes from a very different perspective, as well as find some pretty cool stuff hidden outside the map. I hope you guys enjoy, and if you do, consider leaving a like down below. It helps me out a ton, and of course, make sure to subscribe so you can come back for more. But without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off right at the beginning of the mission, we're met with a burning body inside of a vehicle.
I need help over here!
A very dramatic scene as Mason tries to kick the window open. And using a bit of no-clip, we can get a strange perspective on this from inside the vehicle itself. It doesn't seem like he has a ton of room in here. Also, just behind Mason are multiple panes of glass, seemingly with different levels of breakage to it. And I imagine that these are applied to the windshield as Mason tries to break it open. And at the start, Sabimbi is holding on to the tire of one of the trucks, which its wheels are just spinning in circles, right before the truck drives away, and then his soldiers seemingly just pop right out of the ground. Kinda wild. Ahead of time, all these soldiers that pop out of the ground are simply just stored underneath, and we can see the exact moments when they slide on up. We also see his sword just float through the air until it finally attaches to his back, as well as the grenade launcher that he'll be using later on, floating towards one of the soldiers' hands. Underneath the ground here are also a whole bunch of AK-47s that I imagine are used for the NPCs here. They probably grab them once it's time to start charging the battlefield.
Let's move out before we join them in there.
This is one of those scenes that is really strange to see with no clip. There's so much going on that's weird with like Mason's legs and these weapons floating through the air, the NPCs coming out of the ground, and some of them despawning off screen.
Mason, you copy?
Go ahead, Hudson.
FBLA forces advancing on your position about 1 click north.
Hey, we know! Sabimbi's leading a countercharge.
He's got balls, I'll give him that.
But now it's time for us to leave this base camp, where it looks like there's a lot of medical help being applied to some injured soldiers, and we hop on Zabimbi's truck and start leading a countercharge. And ahead of us is a whole bunch of enemies crossing the field.
Here they come! Here they come, my brothers! Fight, my brothers!
If we go ahead and fly on into this battlefield ahead of time, we can see the exact moment that all these NPCs spawn. It seems they just sort of spawn in a line here, right across the hill, just barely out of view. Then eventually another wave will spawn as well, along with some tanks further in the distance, as we're instructed to target the mortar crews.
Mason, target the mortar crews!
So, I guess let's go ahead and do that real quick.
The mortar crews are down!
Now, as far as these T-62s go, they really don't have much going on with them other than this sort of janky animation where half of the tank just sort of rocks back and forth while it shoots, and the tracks and some of the side panels just stay in place. It looks really weird, actually, up close. But inside of it, however, unfortunately, there is no crew. And as far as I can tell, it seems like these tanks are really bad shots, because I don't think there's any penalty for waiting here to call in the air support. It doesn't seem like they ever hit any of our vehicles. But I suppose it's time to radio Hudson real quick, call in a chopper gunner, and take out these tanks.
Taking fire from the ground. Sooner or later, one of them is going to get electrocuted.
Nice work, Hudson. There's a couple of MG trucks targeting you.
While it's not in use, Hudson's heli is just stored outside of the map, hovering over the river, not moving at all. And we can see the exact moment when it's teleported, the second that we call it in, moving it in position to get it ready for a gun run. And as we charge further down the battlefield, it's now time to take out some MG trucks, which have seemingly spawned in during that chopper gunner scene. These technicals are very similar to ones that we've seen in other Call of Duties. And when we take out their gunners, we can call in air support once again.
Okay, coming around again.
I gotta say, this chopper gunner scene is extremely easy. It's kind of wild, actually. It's like a point-and-click adventure game. I think I missed once. And finally, Sabimbi wants us to jump on his truck. But I think before we do this, let's go ahead and take a look at the battlefield once more, because I think this will be our last chance at doing so. We can see where all of the enemies are spawning from, seemingly infinitely, as well as they start pouring over this hilltop, and I suppose arriving at their demise here in the battlefield. And if we fly on up into the air real quick, we can get a look at just how big the desert area is. It's actually quite large. Where I'm looking at now is the start of the mission, and we can see that there is quite a big backdrop behind that even. And to the right and left of this battlefield is some massive open space, as well as what seems like part of a river even, which I never knew was here, but I guess that's sort of a hint at the next part of the mission, where we'll be saving Frank Woods from a boat on a river that Savimbi says is about 2 miles from here.
They are weak! We must finish them!
And I believe when you hop on this vehicle, that spawning stops and all of the enemy AI start running in the opposite direction. Over that hill again, where they instantly die. We can see in the distance, whether or not they get shot, it seems that that is their fate.
Our journey to victory has begun! Death to the MPLA! My friend from above! You killed many men today, huh? Yes! We all did!
Where's Woods?
The MPLA is not yet defeated. That's a very dangerous rescue, my friend!
Where is he?
He's being held captive by a Nicaraguan gun runner. A very dangerous man.
Where?
About 2 miles north. He's on a transport barge on the Cubango River. He may already be dead.
Let's go, Hudson!
And now, we're off to go save Woods, who is apparently on a transport barge on a river about 2 miles to the north.
I was MIA and but your old man thought I was dead. After all that shit Kravchenko did to him. The numbers, Reznov being stuck in his head. He had no idea it was real. How the fuck could he? Kravchenko, when I sliced that bastard open, saved everyone's ass. But he comes to first. Boom. Welcome to the Hanoi Hilton. 6 months later, they shipped me over to Da Nang. And this fucking place made the Hilton look good. Lost 17 of my group. By 72, it was just me. I was not gonna die in a fucking swamp!
And immediately when approaching the barge, we're hit with a missile, left with nothing else to do other than abandon the helicopter and jump onto the boat. And using a little bit of no-clip during this section, it shows us that the helicopter actually teleports when it's hit by the missile, which is sort of strange. I really didn't expect that, but I suppose it moves it forward a few feet to line us up for jumping onto the boat. And if we don't jump, we can see the heli spin out of control before it is teleported once again, but this time out of the map. Now, this part of the mission is quite interesting. There's a lot of things to check out here, so I suppose let's get started. First of all, if we fly up into the air, we'll immediately realize that this river is sort of a facade in a way. It is just one massive loop that just goes around, meanders its way all the way back to where you began. So no matter how long you take to complete this mission, it doesn't matter. You will keep following this path no matter what, and there's always more river in front of you. But in the distance beyond this river, we can see there is another area far out there. And making our way on over, we'll see that this is the area that's used for the ending part of the mission. And in fact, we can get AI to spawn here ahead of time, and their models are a little bit messed up at the moment. I feel like I'm being attacked by like stormtroopers or something, but they're just made of little blocks. Very strange. All the animations seem to be intact, it's just the models themselves are completely broken. And it seems like this is the case for all of the NPCs here on the island. All of the AI have the exact same model out here right now. So I guess it's sort of just a placeholder. But we'll be coming back to this area in just a bit, so let's head on back over to the river real quick and continue the mission. There are some interesting things to see along the river though, such as some ruins right here that is just behind where you start. So the only way to see this is if you go the entire loop. And there's also a few huts and some other things along the way, such as this little village made up of some really tiny shacks. But if we go underneath the map, we'll get an idea of how this area was constructed. Beneath the water and the rock, we see these massive black sheets. I'm guessing this texture was used as just sort of a bottom to the map, one that you would never really get to see otherwise. And it seems like it's broken up into pieces as well, so if I cross this boundary, for instance, one side gets called out, and the other side gets called in. I'm not sure if these areas were made separately from each other by different people, but this junction right here, it seems like is a 3-directional situation with 3 separate parts of the map that I can just call in by moving in a circle. But finally, perhaps the most interesting part of this mission is actually right here in the center. Here in the middle of the map, we can see there is an identical copy of the boat that we're storming right now. It seems to have all of its textures intact, the only difference is there is no guns on it. And I suppose, of course, no container as well, or collision for that matter. And inside of the shipping container, well, there is a whole bunch of blood, but no Frank Woods and no dead soldiers. Which we'll get to the one on the actual boat in just a minute. But it turns out this is not all that's down here, because if we go up just a little bit, we can see this rusty texture as well as what looks like the shipping container. Well, in a very pre-alpha form. As far as I can tell, this platform right here is the exact size and shape as the platform that's used for the boat. And I'm not sure if this is what is used to give collision to the player, or perhaps this is how the boat itself was made, or maybe before they had the boat model created, this is what they used in testing. But either way, this rectangular box here in the middle is definitely meant to represent the shipping container, and I imagine this floor representing the boat. Really weird standing here and looking out and seeing absolutely nothing else as well, which changes immediately if we go up a few inches. It instantly gets called out, and suddenly we're back into the mission. Returning to the mission now, it seems like we've made a full loop, which is kind of cool. And for some reason, all of the boats are like stuck together back here. There's also some really weird physics going on in this level, where once you touch the deck of the ship, your velocity matches it. And what's actually happening, instead of moving because it's moving underneath you, you're simply just moving with it. And so you can see, even if I go off to the side here, I'm not touching anything right now. I'm constantly following the ship. And until I release no clip and the game realizes I am no longer on the ship, it now detaches me from it. If I go ahead and fly on over and return to the boat real quick, it seems like it's time for us to kill these tagalongs, which looks like Hudson has been doing some work here, taking out these guys boarding the ship.
They're still coming!
But they're definitely still coming. You're right, Hudson. Let's go ahead and end that. After you kill everyone on the boat, or the boat releases its people onto yours, it starts speeding off ahead of you before it despawns down the river, which is sort of a strange mechanic considering some of these boats will have no one on them whatsoever when this happens. But finally, it's time to open the shipping container. And before we do, let's go ahead and no clip on inside of it, and we'll see the same exact thing we saw on that copy underneath the map. There's a whole bunch of blood here, but there is no woods, and there are no dead soldiers. But there's that same bloodstain, though, from Kino. I really feel like this decal means something. I just don't know what. So, I guess we better open it up, eh? And the second we do so, all the bodies spawn in.
God. Woods, are you in there, brother? Frank! It's me, Mason. What did they do to him, Hudson?
Shit! We got Hyde right on us!
It seems that we have found a very dehydrated and on the brink of death Woods. And right after doing so, a hind comes in and blows the crate off the deck. There's now a massive hole in the side of it, and if we look closely, we're just spinning in circles right now, which is really weird, because I don't think this would actually happen. And I guess as we're spinning, we are still traveling down the river, slowly but surely. Sort of a weird consequence of this hind showing up. But we do have a Valkyrie rocket, and looks like we got a target for it. And after hitting it,
Woods is going under Mason. I'll get him.
we run aground. Woods floating down towards the bottom of the river, unable to move, and basically unconscious at this point.
We've probably attracted the attention of every MPLA foot soldier in the area. We need to move.
Now, during this crash scene, it seems we have been teleported to a completely different area. That area that we saw earlier, far in the distance from the river. And the map that we were on before seems to have been called out, and now this is the only thing in front of us. A little village that we're now assaulting and trying to get to the radio tower to be able to contact someone for an exfil. And we're doing so while dragging Woods alongside us, trying not to be spotted and figuring out a way to get evacuated. And it's really funny using no clip as well in this. You could completely glitch out the mission. It's definitely not made for this. As you can see, we're getting a third-person perspective of what it looks like to drag along Woods. The headless Mason and Woods' arm that is just distorted backwards in a really weird way. Doesn't look like he's doing too good.
What the hell are Cubans doing here?
And there apparently are Cubans ahead of us on this island.
They're just kids.
Might have something to do with that Nicaraguan drug lord that we're about to find here in just a moment. And I have absolutely no idea how this guy doesn't see us, because I swear he's looking right at us.
Let's move.
But before he does, a siren plays in the distance, and they run off. Gotta say, it's really crazy seeing kids in Call of Duty, but we can see the moment where they run off, and then they freeze out of bounds, before despawning shortly thereafter. And here comes some more stalking around in the grass.
Hold position. They're right in front of us.
Yeah, I can see them, Hudson. They're definitely right in front of us. You're 100% right about that. After reaching this checkpoint, we can use a little bit of no-clip and fly on back towards this building, and simultaneously attract a whole bunch of enemies. I'm not sure what this building was meant to be beforehand, perhaps a church, or maybe this is just some kind of house. Actually, looking at it again, I think it's a school, but it is very much so broken down, and feels a lot like Shinonuma, actually. But other than that, it doesn't seem like there's too much going on out here. There's nothing under the ground that I can find. Well, other than this random piece of water, I suppose. But, I don't think that's too interesting. But we can go on ahead and take a look at this area beforehand. In its current state, there is no one spawned in here. Under the building, we'll find a blown-up window pane here that is used later on after the grenade blows up. I believe this texture is placed around the window above it to make that explosion believable. And inside the building, we can hear some radio sounds, but there is no Raul Menendez. We can see where he'll be sitting in just a second, as well as all of the drugs here on the table, and some more Damien Got Row folders. Infamous folders, of course, from the Black Ops franchise. Love to see it. And since they're there, I'm gonna take a sip of the coffee. Because, of course, I have my coffee with me here this morning. I hope wherever you are, whatever time you're watching this, you're enjoying yourself, because I absolutely love no-clipping through missions like this. And this one being the very first mission in Black Ops 2, of course, holds a whole lot of nostalgia. And seeing some of those hidden details in the boat scene, that was absolutely awesome. Loved that. Never knew that was there, and it's really weird to see that rusted part as well, seemingly like a copy of the boat just floating above the actual model that's below. But now, here we are in the final area, and there is a whole bunch of background here with some huts and some more rockage going on in the distance. But the main focus, of course, is this radio tower, and who we'll find inside of it. So I suppose it's time we return to our final checkpoint here. And if you're enjoying any of this video, consider leaving a like down below, of course. It helps me out a ton, and make sure you're subscribed. But let's finish out this mission and save Frank Woods.
You'll be okay, Frank. I'm gonna radio for help. I'll take care of Woods.
For our final scene here, we're approaching the house. And of course, as we get close, everyone is spawned in. There's soldiers now along the sides, and inside of it, Menendez. Which, if we no-clip now and don't go through the checkpoint and instead just get inside the building ahead of time, we can get up close and personal with Raul. And it doesn't seem like we can kill him. He is definitely invincible. Let's try a grenade. Nope. Nothing. Nothing at all. And I suppose ahead of time, we can just sort of run through here and kill all these soldiers. Not that that really changes anything for this final scene, because I believe it's mostly just between you and Raul. Also, I think these guys are infinitely spawning. And it seems like every single one of them has an RPD, which is really strange. It definitely feels like you're not meant to survive right now, because the enemies are dead accurate with their guns, and they are constantly spraying at you, whether they can see you or not. But I think I got them all, at least for now. If I hop back into playable space, though, yeah, it just respawns more. The game wants me dead at the moment. I guess let's just see what happens. Can I can't, oh, I can't progress at all right now, actually. There is no longer an option to jump through the window. I think they got mad at me, man. I don't think they want me here anymore. I guess we'll get a quick desk lamp perspective real fast, and I suppose we should probably restart the last checkpoint. Let's see how fast they'll kill me. I'm gonna turn off God mode in 3, 2, 1. That was pretty quick. All right, time to do it for real this time. Let's zip on up the hill real quick and sneak our way into the building. And with our pistol drawn, we take Menendez as a hostage. Our goal here, I believe, is to try and get him to use the radio to call in an exfil for us. Except instead, he punches it, destroying the equipment, seemingly knowing what Mason wanted.
You're a dead man unless you do exactly as I say. Tune the radio to...
You're going to kill me, see?
And uttering in Spanish that we think we're in control, but we're not actually at all.
Americano le está diciendo que no se mueva.
Shut up!
Él piensa que está en control, pero él no
I
es.
say shut up! Lower your weapon! I swear to God, I'll kill this bastard!
And as the enemies surround us and put their guns down, Menendez pulls a grenade, lets go of the pin, and drops it on the ground.
You son of a bitch!
It seems like a few of the AI jump on top of the grenade while the other ones despawn out of sight. Menendez pulls a knife, stabbing Mason, and Mason fires his gun, striking Menendez across the face, giving him that iconic scar that we see throughout the campaign. The grenade goes off, and instantly Menendez despawns. Here in the aftermath, we can see that there is definitely no longer any Menendez here. Even underneath the ground, there's only a couple panes of glass, but other than that, still no Menendez. But we can see that the window has been swapped out, and that texture that was under the map is now applied to it. There's a whole bunch of smoke blocking our vision back inside of here, and interestingly enough, the door is actually open, even though there is collision here, so I can't walk through it, which is kind of strange. But this leads us out to the back again, where we were just before, where all these AI are spotting at. So I suppose there's not really all that much to see here, other than infinitely spawning AI in a corner. Oh my god, that is satisfying. I wonder how many AI I can kill here before the game crashes. Wow, boys, I'm camel grinding. Hold on. Give me 1 second. About to get this FAL gold. Alright, enough fooling around. Let's go back to the mission. Because now, it's time to get back towards the beach. It seems we have failed to call it an exfil, so I guess we're on our own now. We got a 1911 here, though. Nice. And now, we're defending. Using some actually pretty realistic tactics. The bound and cover.
We gotta get moving, Hudson! Throw smoke!
Before Hudson throws some smoke, grabs Woods,
I got him! Let's go!
and we make a run for the river. Mortars start raining in as we're defending by the waterfall, seemingly about to be overrun, with no evacuation in sight, and very limited cover as well from the gunshots raining in above us.
There's a boat on the beach, come on!
And when we make it to the beach, there's a helicopter, Russian Hind, closing our only escape route.
We have to move now! Come on, Frank! Come on, we're getting out! No.
Fucking Russians. Damn it, no way out.
But right as it's about to gun us down, it opens fire, killing the enemies behind us.
You thought I would leave you, huh? Hurry! Come!
And is indeed our commander from the very beginning of the mission, coming back and saving us. We load Woods in the helicopter.
Well, we got him, Mason.
Can't kill me.
Right before Hudson gets shot, and Woods saves him like an absolute badass. I guess you really can't kill that guy, huh?
You can't kill me. Thanks to your old man. Put it all on the line for me. For honor, friendship. Yeah. It's just like you, kid.
But that is it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, consider leaving a like down below. It helps me out a ton. And of course, make sure to subscribe so you can come back for more, because there are plenty more missions to go outside the map of, as well as World War II zombies, which should be coming pretty soon. So keep an eye out for that as well in the polls. And if you want to join a membership here on the channel, now is probably one of the better times to do so, because there is some exclusive content that's coming out for it. I'm putting together some marathons for my members that are just collages of old content that's still on the channel. So if you don't get a membership, you can still watch this stuff yourself if you want to. But with the membership, you get some extra voice lines from me, and all of it together in one video without ads. But either way, if you did enjoy this and you want to watch more of my content, you can click one of the videos on your screen right now. But if not, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay awesome, and peace out.